What gets you like a horrible, dark, humid room in London gets you a very decent apartment in Manchester. I have a special connection to water, and I'm just so grateful. Found that it felt a little less personal and a little more transactional, and that's actually an understatement. Today's video is going to be about Manchester, and more specifically I'm going to be talking about my own experience of living here. Just to give you a little background, I am a Greek expat. I've been living here for the last 3 years. Before Manchester, I also lived in London in the UK, which is where I studied, worked, lived, did it all together. And before London, I was living in Athens, Greece for quite a few years. So, when people ask me about Manchester and whether it's worth moving here, I actually have something to compare it with. And since I've got some work to get through, I decided to head out to the coffee shop. And by the way of doing so, you'll also get a little walk around the city, which I think is going to be like a nice background for this kind of discussion. Let's go, let's get started.
So high, feet on the ground, but I still get by. The rules were made for someone else to try, but not me, not me. They said slow down, son, take your time.
One of the things that I love about Manchester is that it's a very walkable city. Although I live in Salford, I decided to walk to the city center because the weather is quite beautiful actually. It's not too hot. It's not raining, although it was raining earlier. And it's quite nice, yeah. So it's gonna take me about 30 minutes, 40, but the actual route is quite beautiful, so I don't really mind. And just because Manchester is more compact and walkable, please don't assume that it's also boring. For me, it compares the perks of a small town and a big city at the same time. So you get plenty of options throughout the year, from concerts to live music events to art galleries and museums, street food markets. Manchester has it all, really. It's just closer to you. There's a lot going on, like a lot of traffic, people running around the city. But yeah, it's like 9:40 now, so yeah, it kind of makes sense, I guess. We're heading to Aviva now, which is like an arts, culture kind of workspace, and it's quite stunning actually. It's one of the main attractions here.
Me up on a late night, you steady playing on my mind. Oh, I can't get you out my head. Got a feeling I can't fight. There's nothing left but it feels right. I'm feeling you and I won't pretend. I don't wanna say too much, I don't wanna say too much. I just wanna feel your touch. I wanna be closer, babe. I just wanna give you my love. I just wanna give you my love.
Another thing that I really love is that there are a lot of places like outdoors where you can chill or do some work, like this one here just outside of Aviva Studios. And there's free Wi-Fi as well, which is great. And if the weather allows, there are so many great options to do some work just outside of your normal workspace, which is great. And a lot of you might be asking, what about the weather here in Manchester? Well, this year, summer has been so long. We haven't seen rain in over 2 months, which is so unusual for Manchester. It usually rains, okay, but in the last 2-3 years probably, I've noticed that the weather is changing, becomes drier. And although we do get a lot of rain during winters, summers are becoming more and more dry each year. And one thing that I wanted to mention as well is that when the sun is out here, it feels, I don't know, it feels warmer. It feels like it goes straight into you. So yeah, summers are not ideal for me. I don't like summer anyway. Whether in Greece or in the UK, I don't really enjoy summers. I'm definitely a winter guy. You just heard me rant about summers and the heat, but Manchester's weather is much more than that. I think it's the autumns and winters that really gives this city its character. The rain, the shorter days, the crisp mornings slow the pace just enough to make people appreciate cozy little coffee shops, local pubs, and the sense of community that is so evident here. Rather than seeing the weather as something to put up with, I've come to see it as part of Manchester's rhythm. It reminds you that every season has its own charm, and that's one of the reasons this city feels so authentic.
From the first moment I saw you, I knew I had to make you mine. Wanted to know everything about you.
So just to give you an idea what gets you like a horrible, dark, humid room in London gets you a very decent apartment in Manchester with parking and other amenities as well. And beyond the actual cost, there's a huge difference in the quality of the accommodation. For my apartment, which is like a one-bedroom apartment, and it's quite new, and there's also parking, I pay around £900 per month. And that, of course, does not include any utilities or anything, but still, it's a very good deal, especially when you compare it to London. Though not everything is like rainbows and butterflies, you should bear in mind that the salaries here are actually a little lower than other cities like London. However, I think comparing both the costs and your income, you'll be in a much better position at the end of the month here. I have a feeling that I made it sound like it's quite cheap here. And that's definitely not the case. Like, it might be cheaper than other bigger cities, but it's definitely not cheap. And each year, prices are getting up by 5 to 10%. And that might not be the case always with your salary. So bear that in mind as well.
Got me up on a late night. You steady playing on my mind. Oh, I can't get you out my head. Got a feeling I can't fight.
By the way, I'm also trying to figure out how to work with a gimbal. On another note, yeah, at first I was just like, fighting with it, trying to get myself in frame. But I think I'm almost there. As a person who values green spaces and nature, when I was doing my research before I moved here, a lot of people were saying that there's not much in Manchester. And that's true about the city center. But there are so many areas just outside of it, like Didsbury, Stockport, a lot of areas in the north of the city, Salford Quays, which is where I live, are quite picturesque. And there's a lot of nature as well. And not to mention that just outside Manchester, there's Peak District, which is one of the most gorgeous areas that you can find in the UK in general. And there's also the lakes, the Lake District, which is about an hour and a half outside of Manchester. So you actually have plenty of options. If you want to find nature, you can easily do so. Speaking of Salford Keys, I just want to take a little moment of appreciation here and just say that I feel so appreciative of the fact that I live here, and I can just take a moment and get out of my apartment and walk around here, like near the water. There's a lot of bird life as well. As a Greek, I have a special connection to water, and I'm just so grateful. And this is definitely one of my most favorite areas in Manchester, for sure. Today, I also want to talk about something that I feel doesn't get covered enough, especially online. And if you're someone like me, I think you'll find this useful. So Aria came with me from outside the UK. And honestly, at the time, that whole process felt like the hardest part of moving. Not the visa stuff, not finding an apartment, but, the actual bringing the dog with me part. And if you've never done it before, it's a lot more involved than people expect. Vaccinations, microchipping, specific timelines that you have to hit exactly right. Paperwork that needs to be in order weeks in advance, not just the week before you fly. And it's like miss one step or you're looking at delays, even quarantine, and in the worst cases, not being able to bring them at all. I remember just being like constantly anxious about it, like double checking documents, rereading requirements, because for me it was not just admin, it was Aria, and getting it wrong was not an option. Once it was actually here though, Manchester's been a genuinely good place to have a dog. Parks, plenty of walkable green space once you're outside the city center, that is. Dog-friendly coffee shops, if you know where to look. It's become a proper part of how I experience the city. Most of my favorite spots here anyway, I found them because of her, not despite her. I want to be honest about one thing though, and this is slightly controversial, but I think it's important to note. My experience with some of the bigger vet chains here has not been great. What is it, Aria? Do you have something to say on this? No comments. Yeah, my experience with some of the bigger vet chains here has not been great. And I know this can vary a lot depending on the branch or, the actual vet. But with some of the bigger chains, I found that it felt a little less personal and a little more transactional than it should. And that's actually an understatement. And that made me a lot more intentional about finding an independent vet practice, a practice where the vet actually remembers Aria between visits. And I don't leave the appointment feeling like a wallet, actually. Not saying that every big chain is like this. I know that many people had great experiences. But, in my case, I tried the same chain, 2 different branches, and the experience was each time it was worse than it was before. And if you're someone that's thinking about bringing your pet with you, my honest advice is do your research. First of all, prepare your paperwork, do your research early, have it all ready, and then once you get your pet here, don't be afraid to shop around for vet care. And that means don't necessarily go straight to the one that's nearest to you or, it's a little cheaper, although the bigger ones tend to be a little more expensive, but they also tend to feel a little more flexible, which is not the case in reality. So yeah, if you would like me to do like a proper video about, the preparation of bringing a pet from the European Union to the UK, let me know in the comments below. I'm quite experienced in this subject, so I can probably help you. And yeah, just wanted to say that Aria has been worth every little hassle that we've gone through, and I would definitely go through the whole procedure again if I had to. And yeah, don't leave your pets behind. Bring them with you. If you're planning on having like a proper life here, bring your pets with you. and I'm sure you're gonna have like a wonderful, wonderful life here. And I'm actually quite hungry as well, so can't really wait to go back home and see what I'll cook. I bet Aria is really hungry too, because it's 1:20, and she's meant to have lunch at 1 p.m. and she has like an internal clock inside her, so she's gonna be waiting for me anxiously. Hello. Hello, little girl. Hello, 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 hello. I missed you. I missed you. I know you're hungry. I know you're hungry. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Let's go eat. Right, so for lunch, I ended up doing like a chicken tortilla with buffalo seasoning and, of course, baked beans on toast, because that's how you know you've been in the UK for a long time, which I've topped with a little feta. So yeah, bon appetit. And I also said at the beginning of the video that I lived in London and Athens, Greece before moving here, so I actually have something to compare it with. So here's the verdict. Living in London is a one-of-a-kind experience. It's unique, it's unparalleled, the energy in London is incomparable, and Manchester is not trying to be London, actually. It's not trying to be anything else than it is. And that's wonderful. I think that if you're someone who's thinking about settling somewhere, not just, living there for a while, I think the real question you should be asking yourself is not, which city is the most exciting or the most global or the biggest. None of that. The real question you should be asking yourself is, will that city allow me to live like an ordinary week, which I actually enjoy? That's definitely been the case between me and Manchester, for sure, by far.